Hey folks, Tim Wood. I am back for another edition of Looped In Live. We're gonna just wait a couple seconds to see if we get any folks, if we caught any folks by surprise. So, interesting, interesting, interesting times in Methuen. Who do we got here? If you're with us, let me know, and I'm gonna share this in a couple of groups here. All right. Let me know if you're here. Let me see here. I'll put this in heads up Methuen as well and see if hit me in the comments. Let me know you're alive. Tim Wood here on a Friday morning from the palatial home studio. I've got my coffee. I've got I've finished my coffee at least. So some things we'll hit on today. As I had mentioned when we were talking last night, we'll talk about the power situation in Methuen. We'll talk about, hey, Steve, how are you? Steve Ewing on the broadcast. Hello right back to you. We'll talk about the power situation. We'll talk about, whatchamacallit. We'll talk about the Halloween situation. And your thoughts and my thoughts on the Halloween situation. What else are we going to talk about? We'll bring some events to your attention. Some cool things happen around town. We'll touch on that. Just kind of give you a overview of what's going on there. So. Also want to talk a little bit about the elections. We are now less than, right? Coming up on 2 weeks before the election, I believe. The final stretch, you'll see you're starting to see the mailers come out and more things being said by a lot of the candidates, a lot of fundraisers and meet and greets and all that fun stuff happening around town. Joel Ferretra, Heather, hello Heather, a loyal viewer Heather. 18 days. Joel has it exactly. 18 days, half day of work for Joel, so he's out replacing blown away signs. Yeah, I know about the wind and the signs, and listen. I'm not replacing my signs. I've just, I'll be clear on that. So I certainly respect your opinion in terms of why I shouldn't have signs on my lawn. But I have signs on my lawn right now. I have Jen Canan's and Nick DeZaglio's. That's not an endorsement, but listen, I've said it. We're putting signs because We're putting signs because... Jeez, I gotta turn my phone off. Sorry, folks. Turn my ringer off. Thought I had the ringer off. All right. Nonetheless, I've had signs on my lawn to encourage folks just to pay attention to the voting. Somebody said I should just have a sign on my lawn that says vote. Well, yeah, listen, I'm not... as much as I want to encourage voting, I'm not making my own signs to do that. But I decided that I'm going to put, allow candidates, any candidate, to put their signs on my lawn, just to promote the fact that people need to get out and vote. It was a pathetic showing in the primary, as you would expect, because it's just, listen, it's a bad day in terms of a primary, in terms of just asking people to remember to go out and vote on a September day. It's just it's not in people's mind in terms of voting. I will tell you that because I have just kind of gotten fed up with the discussion or the level of attacks by some folks in terms of that I shouldn't have signs, or that I'm clearly biased. We have decided I am going to make endorsements through today, and we are going to make endorsements because it is that important. Hey, Marguerite, hope all is well with you. Absolutely, got to get out and vote. Very important election. I will be making endorsements. Anything I've said before now it has not been an endorsement. I've made it very clear in terms of my feelings, in terms of Jen Canaan, and the fact that she was a supporter of ours from the get-go in terms of what we're trying to do with Loop Weekly. We met with a lot of resistance, unfortunately, from folks in town, and it was surprising because it's just hey Jerry, trying to just do a good thing and put out a good product, and some folks wanted a monopoly on what they were already doing, and I understand that, but I mean that's not kind of what America is about in terms of a free market system. So, and that's why, quite honestly, folks like Jen and her support were all the more important. Community leaders embracing us and helping to spread the word that, hey, I mean, listen, another voice is not a bad thing, and I think that we proved pretty quickly that we're going to focus on good news. We're going to focus on news that's important to Methuen, and honestly, I think that what we've done is as I said, I made a choice to report the bad news as it was happening in terms of the scandal stuff, because it was important for folks to know about the police contract stuff, the school overspend. It was important issues. It's issues that was impacting the present and potentially the long-term future of Methuen. So we made a decision. That's what we were going to cover. Again, some folks don't want to see that sort of news out there. Certainly understood that. We faced a lot of vile and reprehensible attacks. The post. I'll leave it at that. It's made the support and the civil discussion all the more important. It's why I started the private group, Methuen Today, now called Methuen Today Looped In, because we're in a time, folks, where civil discussion, civil debate is so important. I'm not gonna lie. I am appalled by some of the things that I've seen from candidates in this election. Um, I'm appalled by just the attempts to just control the narrative, control. I mean, it's listen. Candidates have their own meet and greets. They have their own town halls, and that's great. That's what they should be doing. Um, it's certainly a candidate's prerogative if they feel that I've wronged them to uh, to choose not to talk to me. What happened? What happened with the Perry group? It was uh, just not right. Honestly, just not right. And it's just kind of it's an affront to democracy, quite honestly. When I did nothing wrong, and because I had put some positive messages on on my personal Facebook page, just happy to see Jen Canan in the mayor's race. Not an endorsement, but just happy to see her in the race. Um, uh, the Perry folks apparently thought that was reason enough to just not even warrant um, submitting to interviews or taking part in a debate. I came back late. I can't, I listen. I came back as soon as I could, as soon as I was feeling healthy after dealing with some concussion issues, and as soon as I had dealt with some very serious family health issues um, with my son, with my dad, and I came back late, but it was still enough time to organize some debates, some interviews, and thankfully, a lot of the candidates have agreed to interviews. Um, I tried to organize debates. I think that the MCTV. I think listen, it's good. The MCTV forums are very buttoned down. You do get some important information. But I think that what I could have done would have allowed for a little bit more discussion. And quite honestly, I will just without getting too personal and getting into attack mode. I find Tom Duggan to just be um, a distraction and a affront to what we need in this election cycle. We need to focus on the good. We need to focus on the issues and the future of Methuen. And so, while I've said it here in a couple shows since I've come back that I thought he did an excellent job on the first round of debates, I found it really discouraging that he, because I tried to do some debates, he kind of got on the offense and his ego really started to show, and he started to call around and spread some bad stuff about me, unfortunately. So, again, that it's not a surprise. It's what Tom does. I've tried to keep a dialogue there because I think it's important to have a dialogue with folks you don't agree with. And we've said it before. I've said it before. Tom and I don't agree on much in terms of ideology, and but I thought it important to have a discussion. That's why I had him on this show last year when we were doing it at the Costa Eagle Studios. It's why, and especially, quite honestly, considering how negative the folks at Methuen Life came at me, and how unwelcoming in terms of just friendly competition they were. It was encouraging to have someone like Tom understand that, we can be friendly rivals. We don't really overlap a whole lot. He's a commentary, should be a commentary paper. Um, it gets dicey when he starts trying to do news, um, because he's not a journalist. He is a commentator, and he's not a trained journalist. And so, um, listen, we decided, given Perry's take, we decided not to do the mayoral debate. I'm going to do an interview with Jen Canan, much like the interviews we did during the last election cycle. Um, we, oh, thank you, Sid. I mean, and again, I don't listen. I don't want to sling arrows at Tom. It's pointless because it's what he wants. Honestly, he wants us to get into the mud with him. I'm just stating facts. I mean, he's being sued by our current mayor for a piece that was run in his publication, written by him, that is, in my opinion, just reprehensible. I can't. It's irresponsible, and as much as I've taken issue with our current mayor, he has at times been open to a dialogue, and he came on our show last year. Even when we've had heated discussions, we've been able to hit the reset button, and so I at least appreciate that from Jim Jajuga. I have not been a fan of this administration and this past 2 years in terms of the city and the tone that was created between the executive branch and the city council. But I respect Mayor Jajuga. I respect the position. I respect the fact that he puts himself out there. I respect a bunch of the things that he's done. I thought, for instance, just the celebrations that he pointed towards the loop, I thought was a great idea. As much as some folks took issue with it, I think, especially in this time, that we need to be drawing people towards the loop. So I thought those events were awesome. And under his administration, listen, we've got the New Balance thing that's happening over on the west side, which is going to be a positive for the city. And Methuen Day got started under his administration, though not directly responsible for it. He at least didn't stop it from happening, and so all those things are good things. But what was written by Tom Duggan, and listen, it's in the courts now. I'm kind of waiting to see how it plays out. I will tell you, regardless of the ruling on it, that it is a subject of much debate in college journalism classrooms across the country. Quite honestly, I've been approached by over double digits in terms of professors and to speak about it, but I'm not directly related to it, and so my only comments about it have been just my take on ethics and where journalists, quote unquote journalists, get in trouble in libel and slander. It's a very difficult thing to prove libel or slander or defamation. It's very difficult for a public official to prove that against a journalist. In my opinion, and I'm not a judge, but in my opinion, Tom crossed so many lines in that piece that he's in trouble, and we'll see how it plays out. But it's a repeating pattern, and so um, I think just it's been frustrating to see our relationship kind of devolve, um, because we're both independent publishers, and it's a tough time to be doing that. So I have a ton of as much as I'm frustrated with Tom, with Methuen Life in terms of some of the tactics. I have a huge respect for the fact that they've been able to publish, for you know up to getting close to 2 decades through everything that's gone on, um, in terms of the journalism world, in terms of the economics of putting out a paper, in terms of just the economics of the country and surviving all that. I have nothing but huge respect for that. So, but I digress. And that's probably should be the subtitle of this show in general. But I digress. Um, so why am I going to do endorsements? Okay, first of all, we're in the process of reorganizing our company, and in doing that, we're going to become. You've probably seen the posts on this page, and we're becoming we've applied to become a 501c3 nonprofit news organization. So in that, once that becomes official, I, as a rule of being a 501c3, can't endorse candidates, can't run ads endorsing candidates. So given that, and given just the fact that I'm been attacked just for promoting voting, and have been said that I'm already endorsing candidates and that I'm campaigning for candidates, I've decided, yeah, we're going to endorse candidates, and we'll do that right before the election, and I think that I am doing my best to inform myself and to inform you in terms of the candidates. I think, as I said, what I've seen from the MCTV debates, what I've seen from the Duggan debates, that I can see because he's blocked me. So what I see, what he posts on his website or on his I think it's a healthy discussion. I think that we are starting to see a differentiating of candidates. I would have liked the opportunity to do some debates to just further that and give candidates another forum to do that, to differentiate themselves, to explain themselves. So it started with Perry. He did not. He lashed out at me after I wrote the article about the city council sending a complaint letter to the ethics commission about the police contract. I would imagine because I pointed out that Phil DeCollegiero is a paid consultant on his campaign, and that Phil was Zani's chief of staff during the whole police contract negotiations. As I've said before, I gave Mr. Perry the opportunity to comment before the article was published. After the article was published, and he chose a different route. He chose to essentially take his ball and go home, and that's his prerogative. To do it in the way that he did it, I think speaks a lot to his. I think it speaks poorly in terms of how he will communicate with folks he doesn't agree with. If and it's very alarming. I think it speaks very poorly to how he will communicate with folks he doesn't agree with. And it's not just me. I've seen it with other folks. Any folks that are not supporting him. I've seen just a negativity and a both from his campaign, which is, listen. The whole point of campaigns is run your best campaign, try to differentiate yourselves and let the voters decide, and then after the campaigns, we get behind the people that win and let them do their job and hope they just focus on doing things that are right for the city, not right for themselves, not right for what their politics are, doing what's right for the city. And we just haven't had enough of that over the last fill in the blank there. I'll say the last decade. We haven't seen enough of that. I'm tired of all the conflict of interest discussion. While it's certainly a valid issue, I think it's been applied incorrectly, just and used as a campaign platform against folks. And I just think it's, as I've said, I'll continue to say it. Conflicts of interest are about how you handle them, and you can handle them ethically, or you can handle them underhandedly, with lack of transparency, by creating nepotism and cronyism, by hiring the same old folks and rewarding favors. That's what conflicts of interest can really do. Okay. I'll give you an example of a conflict of interest I've seen so far. Okay. And again, it relates to Neil Perry. Neil has said during his campaign, and on Facebook and comments, that he is thought that the city council made a mistake in terms of not directing some grant money towards the renovation of the railroad depot that currently houses a union, the laborers union of North America. 175, I think, is the local branch. I don't think from what I understand, they don't have any Methuen members, but they are based in Methuen. Michael Gagliardi is the president of the union. Mr. Perry said that I couldn't understand why the city council wouldn't approve it. Well, first of all, the money should be used for city things that are going to better the city and for that are going to have an impact on a lot of residents. And so essentially what was being asked was to put money towards the renovation of what is now a privately owned building. By as historic as the building might be, it's now privately owned, and there's no benefit to the public in terms of directing funds that way. Perry said that it should be, and coincidentally enough, that same union that didn't get the votes ran just vile attack ads in the Valley Patriot against Canaan and supporting Neil Perry, a full-page endorsement for Neil Perry, a full-page attack ad against Jen Canaan, and then a full-page attack ad against Bill Bryant and Jen Canaan. Again, it just doesn't. You just connect the dots. A favor is being set up here. Okay, that's in my opinion, a favor is being set up. Perry's stance made no sense. Uh, and now the folks that he was supporting have now endorsed him and run these attack ads. And I wouldn't be shocked to see it be a something that if elected mayor that Perry pushes the new city council to take another look at, because that's just how these things work, unfortunately. And so that's an example of what a conflict of interest can do and has done to the city. So, yeah, I guess that's as simple as I can put it in terms of that conflict. So, um, in terms, so I will tell you, in terms of interviews, I have heard from every candidate. We're still looking to set up interviews. I've heard from every candidate except for DJ Beauregard has declined to take part in a debate, which was very surprising. He took issue with me removing Tina Conway from the Methuen Today private group. I removed Tina because she violated the rules of the forum, a private group, by the way, but she violated the rules in terms of just, I created that group to try to create a civil discussion, a civil debate. So two of the rules that are very clear and that you have to answer, that you will abide by before being accepted to the group, was no name calling, no bullying, and then to be kind and courteous in the way you debate. She violated that, plain and simple, and that's why she was removed. And so, if that's DJ's reason for while I can certainly appreciate him supporting a friend and someone that he's respected, and certainly I respect what Tina did for the city, and I thought the way that she was let go was, again, it was unfortunate in terms of how she was unceremoniously removed and not renewed in her position under the Jujuga administration. So, I mean, that said, she didn't obey. She didn't follow the rules, and so she's not the first person we've had to delete from the group. She won't be the last, unfortunately. And my efforts in that group may be futile in the long run. I find myself having to go in police and delete comments, and because of just the swearing and the bullying and I really hope we can get back to a place where we can have civil debate. I've been so disappointed by so much of the poop without swearing that I've seen being slung on Facebook by people that I previously respected a lot, over a political campaign. It just and taking shots at people with if that's what you want. As I've heard from so many people that they want a different Methuen. They want at first it was they wanted change. They wanted but I've just heard that we want a more civilized, we want a new path forward for Methuen. And a lot of the stuff that I've seen in this election has not been that. And, the DJ's choice was really surprising given what I had seen from him, both as a person in meeting with him and just as a candidate before that. Um, uh, Jessica Finicaro has not replied to multiple requests in terms of an interview. In terms of never replied to the debate request. Sadly, that's not shocking. Um, Jess has just. I wrote a column back in January 2018 saying that I had voted for her and that I was disappointed by just some of the early things that I was seeing from her. But at the same time, a lot of positives in that column. I said in there, I she's the type of leader. Why I voted for her, I think she's the type of leader in a decade, 15 years, that could, if she uses all her positives and all her strengths and really focuses on that, could be a mayor. I don't believe that now. I've not just in the way she's treated me, but in just I think her tenor towards me has been childish. Her supporters have been childish in the way they've attacked me. That's their prerogative. I never was attacking Jess. I do find that she talks way too much in city council meetings. I've said it before. This is nothing new in terms of what I'm saying. The length of these city council meetings has been absurd in a lot of cases, and it's not just because of her. She's one of the people that has been part of that, but there's just been some debates, lack of civility between city councilors. Everyone's been guilty of it, and I've called out anybody. I've called them all out on it. As much as I appreciate Steve Saba and everything that he's done for the city, and I have gotten to know him and respect him through our work on the athletic improvement committee, and the boosters, the sports boosters. He's as responsible when it comes to that lack of civility at times. And listen, I think if you haven't sat in those seats, it's you're kind of throwing, to a certain extent, you're throwing stones from the glass house, because there's a lot of pressure on those guys. A lot of pressure on those folks, and they're not getting paid that much. They're being asked to devote a lot of time. So there's a lot of things in play in terms of what they do. So, but Steve's been guilty of it. Jimmy McCarty's been guilty of it. I mean, everyone on that city council has been guilty of creating an unfortunate atmosphere that needs to change in terms of the way that we communicate with each other in that great hall. Some folks will evolve, and I've already seen it. Some folks won't. And so, again, you have that power on November 5th to decide who you think will, who you think won't, who you think will serve the city best. So I mentioned Beauregard has not, declined, which was a huge surprise and unfortunate. Finicaro, so that's the at-large folks. Mike Samard and Ali Safi have declined in the West. Again, not a huge surprise given that I've seen them pretty much fall in line with Neil Perry. So unfortunate, but again, Two folks that I have never, I've met Mike at city council meetings during the whole Sweetheart Inn stuff. Had great conversations. I respect the work that he put in there. I respect the work that he does as a police officer in Lawrence. Um, Allison, I don't know. Period. I know that she was active during the Sweetheart Inn stuff. Um, have not have not had any in person dealings with her. Um, so again, frustrating. It's something, and quite honestly, it's something I've never run up against. We saw it with Trump and Fox News. Trump and one of the debates that he didn't participate in, and I think that kind of quite honestly opened the door to folks thinking that's okay. Um, I think first of all, it's not okay. Um, in terms of just giving folks every opportunity to see you in action as a candidate in a bigger forum. Uh, as a Methuen business owner, it's an affront and it's really frustrating. I stand by my record in terms of what we've created with the paper, um, and the interviews that we've done in the past with candidates. Um, and it's just really disappointing to see how it's played out. Um, but it is what it is. We carry on. We move forward. We will do interviews with folks who are willing to do them. Very excited to do them and present them to you. I think I'm certain I'm not there yet in terms of endorsements. I'm going to use every last minute to um, objectively come to an opinion on what's best for the future of Methuen and how I can effectively use my platform to bring that information to you. In general, I'm not a huge fan of endorsements, because but it is a norm with newspapers, television stations, local television stations. Um, it doesn't make them any less bona fide journalism organizations because they make those endorsements, unless they choose to then go and be slanted in the way they cover the the person, if they win, the person they didn't pick, if that person wins. Sorry, long week, folks. Friday. So and has that been difficult? So first of all, we didn't have a choice in the last election in terms of mayor. So it's not like I could have made any endorsement or been upset in terms of and created a slanted coverage pattern. I've owned some mistakes. Running Bob LeBlanc's columns was a mistake, and gave Bob the chance to kind of evolve and not just be a one-trick pony in terms of just constantly bashing Jajuga. That's not what we were trying to accomplish with Loop Weekly. It's not what we're going to be trying to accomplish with Methuen today, with this platform, with any platform. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. Let me know in the comments if you're watching live what you want to talk about. I'm going to take a quick break here, and let me see if I can find a little spot to run so I can officially take a breather without putting... Oh boy. I'll find it. We're gonna talk we'll talk Halloween next. Talk Halloween and the thoughts on some folks' thoughts on Halloween. We'll also have an interview with Val Davila. I gotta just keep that in my head. The Figaro. That's how Val pounded it into my head. We'll have an interview with Val. We're gonna talk Joker. If you haven't seen it, some spoilers. So I will give that to you ahead of time. We'll show you some of the trailer as well in terms of Joker. I saw it, thought it was a phenomenal performance by Joaquin Phoenix. We'll get Val's thoughts on that a little later, but we'll take a quick break here. Come back at you in a couple minutes here on Looped In Live. Attention small business owners. Looped In Live wants you. Help us keep the conversation alive and continue with the only weekly show devoted to news, current events, and the leaders and newsmakers of Methuen. Get the best marketing bargain in the Merrimack Valley and support local news and independent journalism. For just $50 per week, your business will be promoted on the web, social media, and in our shows to our wide-spanning audience. Call or text me, Tim Wood, at 843-290-6242 today, or email me at tim@methuentoday.com. Back here on Looped In Live, Tim Wood on a Friday morning. Not going to go forever here, I promise, but I just, wanted to hit on a few issues on this Friday morning. Hope your week has gone well. Hope the end of it is going well for you thus far. So, Halloween. The EEE situation has created a really interesting problem for us. It's a very serious thing. This EEE virus. It's killed animals. It's killed humans, and it became a very serious issue here in Methuen. We became kind of a red alert area for the virus, and thus officials had to make some decisions in terms. And the first thing that we saw was on a parks and recreation front, the parks and the fields being closed because these mosquitoes that pass this EEE virus are most lethal right around dusk, and mosquitoes in general tend to really own the dusk and right before darkness. So the parks were closed early, and the fields and were closed early. At first, it was a 7 p.m. deadline. As we got later into the fall, it's become a 6 p.m. deadline. We would need an extreme frost before we could take those restrictions off. Now, we've come close a couple times. Not that I'm rooting for cold weather. We've come close a couple times on getting to that point where there's enough of a frost, but we're not there yet, unfortunately. And so the end result of that is we're still under these restrictions. And so listen, me doing the Ranger Nation radio show, the MVC Gridiron Weekly show, which I hope you'll support and watch, it definitely has created a situation that folks have had to adjust to. No Friday Night Lights in terms of football in the extreme circle of the Merrimack Valley. Lowell, Dracut, Chelmsford, those cities have not been as affected by it. They still have their Friday night games. Methuen, Andover, North Andover, Haverhill, Lawrence, Central Catholic have all been impacted by that in terms of athletics, and no Friday night football games, no game tonight, game tomorrow, Big game for Methuen against Central Catholic at Lawrence High School. So, going to be a very tough game. Central Catholic is a very tough opponent every year, and this year is no different. And the Rangers are down their senior leader, Connor Bryant, who's out dealing with a foot injury and will likely be out until at least the Thanksgiving game. So will be out if the Rangers are able to make a playoff push. They will have to do it with different leadership. Last week it was Joe Ganji. I've heard, not sure who will be the quarterback this week. Assuming that it's Ganji, but unfortunately they were a little listless against Andover last week in their first loss, a 28-0 loss to Andover at homecoming, which was a huge disappointment. And so that has been a huge impact of this Triple E thing. But now the impact has been Halloween and trick-or-treating. Now, I have young kids. I have a 10-year-old who is still huge into trick-or-treating. My 16-year-old, not so much, thankfully. I don't know what the cutoff. I'll ask you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think the age cutoff is for trick-or-treating. I honestly believe, I think, like, when folks say, for instance, nothing good happens after midnight, and that's said a lot with athletes, in terms of the things that you see and the incidents that you see, and the later it gets into the evening, the more folks drink and party. Nothing good happens after midnight, and that's a saying. It holds true a lot of the time. I think that nothing good happens after the age of 14 in terms of trick-or-treaters. It might even be 13. This is almost like a Family Feud answer. I'd have to survey 100 folks to really kind of get a consensus, like what you think the age cutoff should be for trick-or-treaters. Would love to hear, if you're watching live, would love to hear what you have to say in the comments in terms of what that age should be. But outside of the age thing, I have a 10-year-old who's looking forward to it. We got a costume. Very excited to have Spirit Halloween in Methuen. The store has opened up for the Halloween season at the Loop. Took over the old dress barn spot. Going to be very interested to see if anything goes in there after. When we talk elections, the commercial problem that Methuen faces, and I think it's only going to be more under the microscope in the coming months as Tuscan Village starts to really amp up and really get opened. The Loop will face a problem, and the Loop is in danger of becoming another Methuen Mall situation. And I will tell you, I have not seen the leadership from the city so far in terms of how to address that. And I haven't heard enough from candidates, quite honestly, how to address the commercial issues and how to attract more business to the city, how to attract more fun, more entertainment options to the city. I haven't heard enough from the candidates, and again, it's one of the things that I would ask in the debates. It's one thing I will ask in my interviews, because it's very important. And I've seen a complete disregard for the downtown. Downtown was such a huge topic in terms of what the future of downtown, and now we're not even talking about it again. And now there's a complete standstill in the progress of any downtown projects. You've got a mixed use building being built on Hampshire Street. that has is going to create a parking problem down there, and that wasn't addressed. There was supposed to be a parking solution down there. It hasn't been addressed, and I haven't heard any discussion of it in any of the debates so far about downtown. And meanwhile, the folks that are there continue to just try to eke out a living. I'm going to Country Kitchen later today for Fish Friday. The best haddock in the Merrimack Valley, hands down. That is an endorsement. But Halloween is now a problem with this EEE situation. We've moved up trick-or-treating. The decision from City Hall was to create a 4:30 to 6 p.m. window for trick-or-treating. And that's in line with the regulations, the EEE restrictions in terms of when we're closing down the field and the parks. Here's the problem, okay? We are a commuter community. Not all commuters, but there are a lot of commuting families that aren't even home by 6 o'clock. Certainly not home by 4:30. Then when you factor in all the after-school activities with kids, you factor in all the folks that aren't even going to be home to pass out candy. It's just a bad decision. It's a bad decision. Now I've seen, and listen, it's not an easy decision. Okay, I will at least say that it's not an easy decision. What do you do? I mean, that's tough. What do you do? I've seen one town and one city councilor in a town in Massachusetts is proposing a permanent. I think it's Worcester. I think they're suggesting that they permanently move Halloween trick-or-treating to the Saturday, whether Saturday preceding or Saturday after the Halloween. Now, I think, quite honestly, I think it's an excellent idea. As much as October 31st is the day, last Saturday in October, that Joel says that's what is being proposed by this city. I'm all for that, honestly. And listen, my wife works from home. I largely work from home, so we are very lucky in that we will be able to adjust our schedules to this 4:30 to 6. But I know so many parents that aren't going to be able to do it this year. I know so many folks that love, even with all of the issues that come with hellions on Halloween, there are still people that just adore passing out candy and love to see all the costumes and love to see the smiles on kids' faces. And it's a really cool day. And they're not going to be home to be able to pass out candy. Now, I have a lot of teacher friends that are actually, I won't say they'll officially say they're happy about this decision, but the day after Thanksgiving is historically an awful day to be a teacher, because kids are so amped up on sugar, and a lot of times don't go to bed till late. And if they go to bed, they're not going to sleep right away because they are absolutely on sugar highs. So, November 1st is not a fun day to be a teacher. So I know a lot of teachers that are very quietly for this 4:30 to 6 window because it will mean less candy being circulated and less amped up children on the day after. I am all for. Now, Sid says, I believe Methuen made an attempt to hold Halloween on Saturday nights in the early 2000s, but the mayor's office was bombarded with complaints. I think Sid thinks it's a great idea. And I think it's a great idea. What, I said Thanksgiving? To hold Halloween, sorry. Yeah, I mean, listen. I'll even go so far as to say it doesn't even have to be Saturday night. Okay, if we move it to the weekend, it could be Saturday afternoon, late Saturday afternoon. It could be 4:30 to 6 on a Saturday. It could, okay, because the majority of us are off on Saturdays, so that would work. Not an easy decision, and I get it, but I mean, we are a culture nowadays. Now, Joel says I'm a purist, want it on the 31st, but 4:30 to 6 doesn't work for the majority. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Breaking story, cananformayor.com. So, I am not for it. I am not for this 4:30 to 6 window. Personally, we'll be able to do it. I know so many friends that aren't going to be able to. And they'll create their own little, windows. All right, I'm going to take a quick break here because I'm going to go take a look at what Sid just posted and take a look at what's been posted there. So we'll take a quick break, and I will be right back with you here on Looped In Live. Attention small business owners. Attention small business owners. Looped In Live wants you. Help us keep the conversation alive and continue with the only weekly show devoted to news, current events, and the leaders and newsmakers of Methuen. Get the best marketing bargain in the Merrimack Valley and support local news and independent journalism. For just $50 per week, your business will be promoted on the web, social media, and in our shows to our wide-spanning audience. I know it's... Call or text me, Tim Wood, at 843-290-6242 today, or email me at tim@methuentoday.com. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now right-in-place insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and MapFreight, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? I just asked Val and his crew to find me a better auto and home insurance deal, and he connected me with Plymouth Rock, where I'm saving more than 40% over my previous insurance. Now, your results may vary, but give Davila and DeFusco a try. They pride themselves on having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or check them out at daviladefusco.com. Big shout out to the folks at AFC Urgent Care, Lisa Williams and her team over there. AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. You'll never need an appointment. Got that persistent cough and cold, that cut that needs a few stitching, or need a sports physical and don't want to wait weeks to get into your primary doctor? AFC's streamlined approach helps you be seen quickly and feel better fast. In Methuen, in the Merrimack Street Medical Professionals Building, 380R Merrimack Street, in North Andover as well, in the Burton Grill Plaza, 8 to 8 Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. Go to afcurgentcare.com for more details. Back here on Looped In Live, and as will tend to be the case when you're on live, we have some breaking news that's happened. here on Looped In Live. A statement has been put out. I mentioned this on our last Looped In Live, that I was kind of surprised by something that happened on the last MCTV forum, the mayoral forum. But I listen. First of all, I'm just going to read you what is on cananformayor.com, and I will put a link to it. Mayoral candidate Jennifer Canan releases statement regarding her opponent Neil Perry's recent revelation about a restraining order. And here's what is said in this release. Last week during an MCTV forum, Neil Perry revealed that a restraining order had been taken out against him by his second ex-wife. This announcement was an apparent attempt to get ahead of the story in anticipation of adverse public reaction. Even though Jennifer had heard rumors about Mr. Perry's personal past, she refused to give those rumors any momentum throughout the campaign. During the same broadcast, he stated that he quote, had the restraining order overturned, end quote. It turns out this is not true and is a distortion of the facts behind this shocking revelation. Attached is a statement from candidate for mayor Jennifer Canan and a fact sheet of what the real truth is about Mr. Perry's restraining order. After the debate, Jennifer's campaign felt an obligation to the voters of Methuen to look into the facts behind Mr. Perry's statement. What they found was shocking. The residents have a right to know the truth about who Neil Perry is. Quote, and this is from Jennifer Canan. Quote, as a mother of two daughters, I am heartbroken whenever I hear about domestic abuse against a woman. The fact that Mr. Perry spoke so cavalierly at the debate of what now appears to be a dreadful set of circumstances is deeply disturbing, said Canan. Quote, I've been asking throughout this campaign, who is the real Neil Perry? He hasn't been involved in our community. He hasn't voted in a city election since 2001. And now we found out that a judge issued a 209A restraining order against him. This is not someone our city needs or deserves in the mayor's office. We now know who the real Neil Perry is. As an elected official, as a mother, and a lifelong resident of the city I love, it's my duty to let the residents know the truth, end quote. And the release goes on to say, Mr. Perry has been saying all along that he is the candidate with integrity, not voting in a city election since 2001, lying numerous times on the campaign trail, and trying to manipulate the voters into thinking that his restraining order is no big deal. That is not what a person with integrity does. This is not what leadership looks like. Jennifer has been the only candidate in this race who has consistently told the truth. A restraining order is not a joke or mere embarrassment and should not be treated as such. It gives Jennifer no pleasure to comment on this sordid affair. She believes in family values and community service and lives her life accordingly. Jennifer wishes this campaign could have been conducted fairly and in good faith on the merits of each candidate. She is speaking out now because she is really afraid that our city could be taken over by people who do not have the best interests and whose integrity and morality are in serious doubt. Ironically, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We hope that the residents of Methuen will take that awareness to the polls on November 5th. And so it goes on. It is a listing of the court documents around the restraining order with Perry, and there's a link to those court documents. The release says, here's some facts that are according to the campaign. Well, facts that they say they've extracted from these court documents. Fact 1. Mr. Perry was accused by his second wife of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. Fact 2. A restraining order was issued by Lawrence District Court November 16, 2001, and then extended to December 12, 2001. Fact 3. Protective order issued by the Probate and Family Court on December 12, 2001. Fact 4. The divorce was filed on the grounds of, quote, cruel and abusive treatment, or, in the alternative, irretrievable breakdown of the marriage. Fact 5. There were multiple summons for contempt of court, usually around non-payment or late payment of child support by Mr. Perry. Now, I'm assuming that's from Mr. Perry. Does not say that there. Usually around non-payment or late payment of child support. Fact 6, Mr. Perry claims to be a great negotiator, but he put his family through 2 years of struggle, haggling over money and visitation rights. This is not really a fact. This is more of a statement by the campaign. This is the great negotiator, they say. Fact 7, Mr. Perry's original lawyer withdrew because the relationship between him and his client had deteriorated. The lawyer that became Mr. Perry's new lawyer was later disbarred. All right, so that's what was posted on the website. I'm getting some text at the moment. All right, so that's what was put out on the website. I'm going to take a quick break here and try to gather some more information around this. We'll take a break and come back here on the show. As I said, some breaking news, and we'll see what we can gather here. Back with you in a minute here on Looped In Live. Attention small business owners. Looped In Live wants you. Help us keep the conversation alive and continue with the only weekly show devoted to news, current events, and the leaders and newsmakers of Methuen. Get the best marketing bargain in the Merrimack Valley and support local news in independent journalism. For just $50 per week, your business will be promoted on the web, social media, and in our shows to our wide-spanning audience. Call or text me, Tim Wood, at 843-290-6242 today, or email me at tim@methuentoday.com. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now right-in-place insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and MAPFRE, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? I just asked Val and his crew to find me a better auto and home insurance deal, and he connected me with Plymouth Rock, where I'm saving more than 40% over my previous insurance. Now, your results may vary, but give Davila and DeFusco a try. They pride themselves on having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or check them out at daviladefusco.com. Big shout out to the folks at AFC Urgent Care, Lisa Williams and her team over there. AFC Urgent Care, the right care right now. You'll never need an appointment. Got that persistent cough and cold, that cut that needs a few stitching, or need a sports physical and don't want to wait weeks to get into your primary doctor? AFC's streamlined approach helps you be seen quickly and feel better fast. In Methuen, in the Merrimack Street Medical Professionals Building, 380R Merrimack Street, in North Andover as well, in the Burton Grill Plaza, 8 to 8 Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. Go to afcurgentcare.com for more details. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now right-in-place insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and MAPFRE, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? I just asked Val and his crew to find me a better auto and home insurance deal, and he connected me with Plymouth Rock, where I'm saving more than 40% over my previous insurance. Now, your results may vary, but give Davila and DeFusco a try. They pride themselves on having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or check them out at daviladefusco.com. If you're looking for the freshest food with the fastest service in the valley, look no further than Country Kitchen. Country Kitchen has been the breakfast spot of choice for Methuenites for more than 4 decades. Lynn, her son Eric, and the entire team at Country Kitchen continue to serve breakfast favorites with the friendliest service around. Eric's lunch specialties change daily, anything from American chop suey to meatloaf, chicken pot pie, local faves like chicken barbs, to a Friday seafood menu that features haddock fish and chips that, trust me folks, it is the best in the Merrimack Valley, if not all of New England. Whether you're a regular or a first-time guest, the crew at Country Kitchen can't wait to see you. Come check them out today. They are in the heart of downtown, 18 Hampshire Street in Methuen. Check them out online on Facebook at The Country Kitchen on Facebook. The fastest service in the valley. Country Kitchen, a proud supporter of Ranger Nation Radio and the sponsor of the Methuen Rangers football report on MVC Gridiron Weekly. Attention small business owners. Looped In Live wants you. Help us keep the conversation alive and continue with the only weekly show devoted to news, current events, and the leaders and newsmakers of Methuen. Get the best marketing bargain in the Merrimack Valley and support local news and independent journalism. For just $50 per week, your business will be promoted on the web, social media, and in our shows to our wide-spanning audience. Call or text me, Tim Wood, at 843-290-6242 today, or email me at tim@methuentoday.com. Back here on Looped In Live. All right, so I read what was posted. This unfortunate turn in this campaign. I will tell you, I was surprised when Mr. Perry brought it up in the meeting or in the forum, but it was very surprising that was brought up. There's been rumors about this, but that it was brought up by Mr. Perry. I really didn't think anybody would have talked about it, because that can be an extremely complicated situation when you're talking about divorces. Perry talking about it, I think it's almost like when... I guess the closest example I could probably say is when you're in court and something is deemed inadmissible. If the defendant brings that up on their own, it then becomes admissible. So it's unfortunate, and you know, I will reach out to, you know, Mr. Perry has been clear that he does not want to talk to me, does not want to be interviewed, does not want to do debates. I will reach out to their campaign, see if they have any response to this. it is it's alarming. Some of the details that we saw there, but it's a developing situation, and I think we'll we'll address it more as details become more available. I'm sure Mr. Perry's campaign will put out something, and we will address that as well. Um, Certainly, this creates a interesting dynamic as we head into the last couple weeks of the campaign. It's an unfortunate story, and I guess we'll see how this plays out. That's all I can say there. So, uh, sorry to pivot on you there in the middle of a discussion. Um, so, I don't quite know how to transition out of that, quite honestly. I don't mean to smile, but it's a little awkward. I don't quite know how to transition. We'll talk about. I guess I'll move back to Halloween. Um, I'm interested if the folks that are watching. I'm interested to see what you think and what your opinions on Halloween are, um, and uh, what we will how we should handle it moving forward. Uh, as Joel said, 4:30 to 6 doesn't work for the majority of folks. Should we have it on a weekend? Should we have it on that last Saturday in on October? And if we do, should it be during the afternoon? Should it be 5 to 7? Should we go into darkness? Part of the coolness of well, I keep saying Thanksgiving, Halloween. Part of the coolness of Halloween is all of the cool stuff after dark, all the cool decorations you see, all the spooky stuff. So to kind of take that out of play would be awkward. Um, we'll certainly see how this plays out. But I would love to hear your thoughts on Halloween and what you think. Um, how could the city have handled it better? Would it have just been to uh, move it to a weekend, move it to Saturday just this year? Uh, Let me hear your thoughts on that. All right, so I am going to move to another discussion here, and we will play uh, our interview with one Val Davila. Val Davila. He is our Seen It, our TV, movie, pop culture guy. We have a good discussion. Uh, Starts with a discussion of Joker. We move into some other stuff, but I think some interesting stuff all around. Here is Mr. Val Davila. All right, back on Looped In Live. We are here with Val, the movie guy. What's happening?
Not
It's
much.
been too long.
I
Our
know.
audience has cried
I know.
and longed to
They
see
must
you
have missed
again.
it because even though you told me not to repost that last night, I reposted it and I went in this morning and 74 people had already viewed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
74. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
For
I
a
so
site that's
like
pretty
what
young.
Val's talking about is so we're working on we are in the final construction stages of the new website methuantoday.com, and we've posted Val's story on there already, and listen, Joker's been out for a little bit, and that's part of why we're talking today, because we feel like the moratorium on discussing the plot and not spoiling it for people. If you haven't seen it by now, sorry.
Shut this off.
Yeah. So
Or, I mean, honestly, I don't know. If somebody told me what happened in Interstellar, I would definitely want to run out and see it for myself.
yeah, I
Or,
don't I on
those
in
kind of
general
movies.
and maybe people can chime in on this. In general, I don't understand the concept of spoiler in general. Yes, you may be spoiling some plot points, but in today's society, man, I mean, it's out. Like
Yeah, it's everything happens so
people are
fast.
talking.
You have a DVR a Patriots game and try not to see what's going on.
Yeah,
Like it's
impossible.
impossible not to like. I
Between
get either
everything you
phone
get
alert.
bombarded with text, I mean,
There's
like
like 7 TVs on in the house. It's like literally impossible to stay away from the score
yeah,
or just know what's going on. But anyways,
absolutely. So, all right, let's talk about Joker to start with here, and you can we will link to Val's review because listen, it's kind of a little sneak preview of the site too. So, um, what'd you think of the? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you like the
I mean, I
design
thought it
so
was
far?
a
What you see?
yeah, I thought it was a very good movie.
No, I'm
Borderline
talking about the
great.
website. I'm looking. I'm just
Oh, the
fishing for
website? Oh yeah,
compliments.
it looks
Did you
cool.
you like the
Sorry.
design of the story?
Yeah, I like it. It looks almost like what's that website I'm thinking of? Like the Daily Mail or one of those. It looks almost like that. It looks like more um not more complex, but like better put together,
Yeah,
you know? I
that's the
like how the
goal.
pictures at the top and then you could put you link the videos. It looks like that, like almost like a Daily Mail
Yeah, I mean we're
or
trying
or
to include more of what's out there now. More, because whether it be live streaming like
link
this,
you could
video,
link
and
yeah, you could link it right there to Facebook,
yep,
Twitter,
yep.
you know,
So
look at that. So
so yeah, we'll link to Val's review, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about Joker. I finally saw it, so we can actually talk on the same level now, other than just your effusive praise. Um,
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face. She told me I had a purpose to bring laughter and joy to the world. Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there? Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile, to the fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow find that life is still worthwhile. What's so funny? Preach. Gotham has lost its way. What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask. I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy. You just smile.
all right, back on looped in live effusive praise. Um,
I mean, I know the review came off strong, but I think it was that. It was like a 8.7. I mean, I thought it was good.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Borderline great. Um,
I think
but
what for
but
me,
his acting
yes,
is just so hard to take your eyes off of
yeah,
that you almost forget what the story is. Every time he's on, Like you're just so into the character, you know?
And I so like I thought like Heath Ledger was amazing, and it's not like I'll ever forget Heath Ledger's performance, but
Yeah.
like this to me in terms of like just the Batman uh
Hmm.
legacy, like this is better than any Batman performance, for example.
That's
I
true.
mean, this is just like a tour de force that, like, to
I
me,
mean,
it's
he's no
just like,
Michael Keaton.
huh?
He's no Michael
I
Keaton.
know who is though, really. I
Yeah,
love. By the way, I love Michael Keaton. I think he's
I do,
brilliant.
but that
Like if you
his
haven't seen The
Batman
Founder,
performance.
you need to see The Founder. He plays Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. He's amazing in
I
it.
know he's a very good actor, but
Oh yeah.
as far as the
I mean,
Bruce Wayne
he's
goes,
no Keanu Reeves, but
all right, don't get me excited. The first Godfall thing, so.
so just explain though, like what is it to you that made that performance by Joaquin Phoenix so powerful?
I mean, number one, it barely even looks like him. What, and then um, the other part was he didn't even really need the makeup for you to know that this guy is going totally bananas right now. Like he's losing his mind.
Yeah.
You just saw, the way he went in and out of like this is real life, this is in my head, and you could barely tell the difference until they showed you later. So I thought that part of it was good. Just how he would switch on and off, like he's being like, remember in that scene where he's being like Mr. Nice Guy, he's packing his stuff to leave, and then he's like, bye guys, like all normal, and then comes back in, and he's totally full cycle. I mean, he
I
just
forgot
left.
to punch out. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
you
and
mentioned
he
that in your
like
review.
walks
That's a
back
great
in, and
line.
now so he's like Arthur Fleck, walks out and comes back full on, insane Joker that that's like just a psycho clown killer, comes back. I forgot to punch out and starts punching the thing. So like that kind of, whenever people could switch it on and off, I think that's what makes a good act, like a really good, you know, makes it really good acting. And then it's hard. I mean, think about it. You're asking someone to dress up like a clown and be believable, and he was so believable, right? That last scene when he gets up on top of the cop car and does the smile with the
Oh
blood.
yeah,
I mean, that alone, that was crazy. It was, yeah, it was good. I mean, but the movie itself, it moves kind of slow.
it does.
There was they repeated a couple of the same things. Like, we get it. He has a laughing disease. It comes on at the worst possible time. They did that like 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
That kind of
And I
stuff.
thought that as much as I thought the cast was good, I mean, this is so centered on him. I felt like some of it was wasted. I thought De Niro was great as Murray Franklin. That's probably the only other character that I would say I and of course his mom,
Yeah.
Frances Conroy, the actress what movie did you mention?
She's in I mean, she's been in a million
Oh
movies,
yeah,
but
I always remember her from Six
her
Feet
biggest
Under.
thing is
I always
American
like,
Horror Story.
huh?
I don't know if you watch that American Horror Story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she's the witch, and she's that show progresses through different timelines, and she's always like a really cool character, and really like she's played a witch, a demon, all sorts of stuff. But
I will always remember her from 6 Feet Under. I mean, she was so
yeah, yeah,
iconic
she was
in
on
that
that show.
series. I mean,
Yeah,
everyone in that series was. I mean, you think about just the cast now and what they've gone on to. It's pretty crazy.
I know.
So,
That's
but
what
I
that
felt
guy Dexter was on, right?
what'd you say?
Michael C. Hall was in
Michael
that. The
C.
guy who
Hall,
plays
Peter
Dexter.
Krause, Rachel Griffith, uh,
Yeah.
the father. What's his name? Great character actor. Um, yeah, Lauren Ambrose. Yeah, Freddie Rodriguez. So
That's right.
so
Lo-
um, so I just thought, like, for instance, the girlfriend. I thought, like, even like Mark Maron's in it at the end
Yeah,
as
he had like one scene.
yeah,
I know. It was so weird.
and it's like,
One
oh,
scene,
well,
and then
okay,
he
Mark
went
Maron,
back.
but he's got like 2 lines. I mean, it's good that he could say he was in the Joker, but I mean, he was so good in Glow that it was like I was just kind of shocked to see
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just nothing,
I mean, he
nothing
always kind
there.
of plays the same character, right? The gruffy, angry guy
Yeah,
with the mustache.
yeah. I mean,
So,
but he played, like the IFC show he did, Marin. He plays it so comedic that it's like it ends up being different than like his character in Glow is much more tragic,
mhm.
and much
But the girl playing Sassy Beats, the girl playing the girlfriend,
yeah,
that was the whole idea, right? That she's so pretty and so unattainable to him, and then supposedly he's seeing her. That should have been the tip off, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
he's like, "Hey, I just murdered a bunch of people. Let me come into your apartment." And she's like, "Hey, come on in." Like that was so
yeah,
like not real.
yeah. I mean, and
But
it's
when you're
tip off. Yeah,
following the movie
yeah.
because he's such a good actor and because the script is so serious, you believe that that's happening.
Well, because in that moment, yeah, he just had killed, and I just felt like, okay, he's
Yeah,
just
and then
full of
she's
adrenaline. So maybe he just finally got over the top in terms of being able to go and kiss her, and stuff happens from there. Good, I'm like, all right, that's a
yeah,
pretty
even
strange
the
life
line
for
when
the
she's
dude, but
like,
go
I don't know,
Arthur,
no, but she's like, "Did you follow me today?" And he's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Cool." Nah, come on,
Yeah.
like that. I know. So, all right, so the spoilers. There's a lot of the stuff that happens in the movie that doesn't happen to him. I'm on the side that nothing happened to him and that it was all in his head.
So
Some people think
you
that
blew
some
you
of it
blew my mind
happened.
with that, quite honestly, and I'm a thinker.
But
I
let me
I
tell
I
you, like,
definitely
yeah. So the first thing is when he's first talking to the lady at the beginning of the movie, she asks him a question and then they flash pan to him smashing his head up against. He's in a white room and he's smashing his head up against of glass. Remember that?
Yep,
That's like the first scene of the movie.
yep.
So already they're kind of giving you a tip, like there's something else going on, like something else happens. But you don't really know because the movie just started, right?
Right.
So then he has the scene where now he has the scene where he's imagining himself that Maury guy loves him and called him up. Remember?
Yep.
So then he has a girlfriend scene where he thinks he has a girlfriend, then it turns out he doesn't have a girlfriend. So that's already two scenes that they're showing you that never really happened. They're all in his head.
But like with the first scene where he's in the audience and being loved by Murray, like I was like that. Okay, that's clearly in his head. When the way that director Todd Phillips plays out the movie, like I felt like the chain of events where the booker ends up calling him and asked him to come on the show. Like I thought it was
Right, it's just
believable
so
enough that he would
convenient.
get hold of the video and be mocking him. I mean, especially in today's society, like YouTube stars become late night.
I know, but that movie's set in the 70s,
I
right? Like they
know,
didn't
yeah, I
even
know.
have,
Like how
so
would
it
he
was
get a
just,
hold of the video
it
from
was
a
so
comic club, right?
convenient. Yeah, it was so convenient that the guy who supposedly made fun of him and embarrassed him now is calling him up to be on his show and he's going to be close enough to get to him. But whatever. So at the end, remember they show him sitting there and the lady he's sitting with looks just like the lady he was sitting with at the beginning.
Yep, yep.
Remember?
Oh yeah.
She kind of looks like that. And then they pan to him in the white room again. And then he starts doing the laughing thing. And then she goes, "What's so funny?" And he goes, "You wouldn't get it." And then it just
So I
pans
would
to
be
him.
curious, just for the audience watching, chime in. Let us know what
Yeah.
you think. Is this all like, because listen, it's creative. Todd Phillips is not going to just say there's one answer or the other. Um, do you feel like the whole thing was in his head? Do you feel like
Well, they want what
what'd you
I
say?
feel like.
No, I'm
I
saying to
feel
the
like
audience, let us
oh
know in the comments in terms of what folks think. Like, it's pretty clear what you think.
yeah. I mean, I think it was all in his head, which kind of takes away from the movie a little bit because I hate that. I hate the dream sequence
Yeah.
in any movie or like, oh, I was just imagining this. But he's such a sicko.
Yeah.
He's
I mean, I
such a
do.
psycho.
Yeah, I hate when they have to kind of just like
Yeah.
in your face with it. Like here's the scene where he was sitting with his mom and the
But
girlfriend
then
was there, but now she's not there. Like yeah,
yeah, but then see, like then the other side of it, the other side is that something happened because Bruce Wayne's family gets killed. Bruce is there, the pearls, that whole
yep,
scene from every Batman movie. So, and Joker is somehow responsible for that. So they're kind of trying to tie that in.
yep.
See what I'm saying? So
Oh yeah,
that then there's a chance that some of it happened, but you don't know what happened. Then there's another scene that people don't talk about when he takes everything out of the refrigerator and goes in that old school refrigerator. Like, what, like, is that him hiding from the world? Like, he just got that call and
yes.
now he's hiding. Did he even go on the show? Did he do anything? Did he just lock himself in the refrigerator and never come out and all this shit is in his head? No, sorry. And all that stuff's in his head. So I don't know. I don't know. It's I guess it's up to the person watching it. But to me, I feel like those tips along the way and like so much happened that was fake, even in his own life, that it's just him being crazy in there. And then he's probably gonna, that's how Joker begins, right? He escapes out of
Yep.
Arkham Asylum. He goes crazy. He's crazy already, and he just starts killing people, whatever. The other thing I didn't like that was a big thing was he wasn't clever, and Joker's very clever.
Yeah.
He was kind of up front, the whole carrying a gun and like that's not Joker's thing,
No.
like his thing would have been like he kills those three guys in the subway. Like I get it, that's like his first kill, and then he's like, they ask him, and he's like, and I didn't feel anything. He's telling you he's a psychopath, but he's a very clever
Very
psychopath. In the
clever, very
comic,
manipulative in
every
terms of how
huh?
he builds his crew and yeah, I mean it's so you don't get
Like,
that for sure. I'm
yeah,
with you, and
he
I'm
would have.
quite honestly I'm still to this day I'm still a fan of the old Batman TV series Joker. Just because that
George
manipulative,
Romero with
huh?
the with that George Romero
Yeah,
guy with
oh yeah, absolutely. Because that's what I think of when I think of the Joker, like
yeah,
manipulative, uh, uh, like right out front, like
yeah.
just bat poop crazy,
Yeah, so I mean, in the comic books, and I read pretty much all the Batman stuff growing up. But in the comic books,
We
he's
can admit that now.
not.
Yeah.
Huh?
We can admit
What?
that now. It's okay. It's cool to be a comic book guy now.
Well, no one knew back then. I kept them. I kept them inside like my Playboy magazines,
Ah,
so no one knew. No, no, it's fine. But yeah, but he's super clever. He never like kills someone straight up, and he always does that the double, the triple double setup like he did in Batman, where
yeah,
it's like, oh, come and get one of them, but he kills both. Come and
right.
get Harvey Dent or the girl, but he ends up killing both. Like that's Joker. Like that's what he is. Also, going back to that thing. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, Heath Ledger was great, but the whole movie wasn't about him. He was only in a few scenes. I mean, every scene he was in was amazing, but I don't know if it would have carried like a whole movie. It might have. I mean, they were definitely gonna make another one. So,
Yeah.
and Chris Nolan's good. So,
Oh yeah. No, I
well,
mean,
that's all I got for that movie.
well, and so I did, and I was also amused of where you put it in terms the films that you compared it to. And I love just any mention of American Psycho. I mean, I just like that movie to me. And if you have
Which
never
also,
seen American Psycho, like you'll see the trailer on in Val's review because he you put it between or you put it on par with American Psycho, was it? I think.
yeah, like
Yeah,
an American Psycho.
yeah. So not like we kind of feel like it's not going to win Best Picture, but like
Yeah,
like you feel like he's kind of a lock for Best Actor.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, I can't see anybody else. And Hollywood loves it when like an actor loses weight or gains weight for a role. Like
Yeah.
that's their favorite thing. They get so excited about that.
Well, I mean, I always think of Charlize Theron in Monster
Yeah,
Ball, or just the transformation, and Phoenix here, like he's emaciated. You see the ribs, whenever his shirt's off, like it's
yeah, a
it's
lot of
gross, guy.
scenes with his
Yeah,
shirt off. Like we get that. That was another thing that kept repeating, him like dancing around, being crazy.
yeah.
Like, okay, one time is good. We get it. He's just insane. But I don't know. I just felt like they kept going. Also in Psycho, by the way, American Psycho, it was all in his head. So that was my tip.
Oh wow. All right. I think you're
So
okay to give away spoilers to a movie that's two
from the
decades old now, but I mean
1990s,
it's still.
yeah,
I mean, and again, to spoilers,
it's
I
still
think
pretty
it's
sick
like it's
movie.
not just about the plot twist. Like it's about the
Mhm.
entirety of the
Yeah,
movie.
that one. Yeah, it's more about he's going through in the. It's such a great take on like the 80s and
Oh yeah,
everything.
and just power, greed, and what causes people to
Yeah.
snap. Absolutely. All right, so what else? What else is Val viewing these days? You mentioned so.
I started, I think it's season 5, Peaky Blinders, that just came back. So good, so violent. But you really have to watch, because,
What is it about for folks who have
oh,
never like
that's a
seen it?
great question. Tim, that's a great question. What is it about? So it's about this, it's about these guys that come home right after World War One, okay? And they're like decorated war heroes, but they were what they call tunnel rats, tunnel men. They fought underground, and they fought like the Nazis in France underground. And it's like a group of them. They were in the same battalion, and they're from a town called Birmingham, which is like a working steel town. And they called themselves the Peaky Blinders because they would wear like a razor blade on their hat, and when they started a fight, they would headbutt you and you start bleeding, or they would take off the hat and cut you in the face. And so there's like three brothers in a family. They're half gypsy and half English, so there's like a whole gypsy side to them too, which is pretty cool. Um, and it's mostly about the brother, the middle brother, who's like in power. But it's about all of them, and then it just shows them, coming up from being street thugs to then taking over like race horsing, and then taking going up against the mob, then going up against the Jewish mob. And Tom Hardy's in it. And he plays a Jewish gangster,
Wow.
which the show after season 3 when he comes on is worth it just to watch him as a
And
as a Jewish
this
gangster.
is a BBC show?
Yeah, it's a BBC show, and usually they watch it over there and then they release it on
Yep.
Netflix.
Yep. All right. So
But
the whole
Tom
series
Hardy as
available
the
on
Jewish
Netflix.
gangster,
Okay.
he can have his own show. It's every time he's on, he's funny, he's brutal, he's mean, it's the
Who's
best.
that?
Hmm?
Who's that?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Okay, I thought
Yeah,
that's who you're talking about.
yeah,
Okay.
and
All right. So
yeah,
Peaky Blinders would be a recommendation if you haven't if you and
yeah.
now
It's
season
so
5
good,
is
but
the
it's
newest season
really,
that's been released. Is that yeah?
yeah, really, it has a lot of graphic violence, and also they all have, so they fight like the Irish mob. Like I said, there's an Italian mob. So I would recommend keeping the subtitles on, because there's a lot of times when you're like, what the hell are they saying? Because they'll like go on a dialogue and you're like, I don't know what they're talking about, because they're just using it. It's kept real, kind of like how they really talk back then, and the slang words and all that. You have to kind of like decipher it a little bit.
Yeah.
But Cillian Murphy is great.
Oh wow. Okay, you sold me just there. He's a great actor.
Yeah,
One of the best parts of Inception for sure.
yeah. He's in Inception. He's Scarecrow in the Batman
Yeah.
movies. I mean, he's been in a million things, but he's always. I think he's in that zombie movie that's in England, 28 Weeks or something like
28
that.
days later, 28 weeks later. Yeah, I always get the
Really,
title confused. Sandra Bullock had another day, a movie about rehab that was like 28 days or something.
Yeah,
So
it was something like.
yeah,
But
that
yeah,
was
but Cillian Murphy's great. Man, there's just like a ton of great characters in it too. But it's worth watching from the beginning. And they have PTSD from being in the war, and like it's just insane.
there's
It's
just a
just
lot.
an
I mean, just what you described alone, and there's a lot going on, but a lot of great actors to kind of
yeah.
to move it along.
Sam Neill's like the bad guy, and he plays like Sam Neill, right?
Oh yeah,
From Jurassic Park. I mean the professor, and he plays the bad guy. He's he's like an Irish cop who's like in a world where everybody's like
in a
corrupt. He's
world.
like so uncorrupt. Yeah, everybody's so corrupt, and he's so uncorrupt that he comes across as the bad guy, even though he's like trying to do the right thing.
Right.
But he is mean because he's like super Irish, super Catholic, and just like super brutal at the same
That
time.
sounds like a familiar plot point to real life, really. But I digress.
Yeah, it's really good, except for that with the
Sam Neill, though, I mean, like
huh?
if your only memory of Sam Neill is from the Jurassic Park films, you'll owe it to yourself to see a lot more of his catalog because he does
He's
play
also,
a really uh, he has a lot of roles where he's really dark and really
Thorne. He's
sinister.
grown up Damien Thorne from The Omen.
Yeah.
And The
Oh
Omen,
yeah.
he's
Great shout out there. Yeah. All
in
right.
the
So
piano. He's the husband.
what?
In the piano, he's the husband of the girl
Just that's
in
the
Girl.
Anna Paquin movie, right? Is that the piano?
Yeah, yeah. Holly Hunter,
Yeah.
that's Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, and initially Harvey Keitel being in it was what sold me that it wasn't just gonna be like a Shakespeare in Love sort of like sappy thing. But I still, we'll have to agree to disagree on the piano. But
It's a good movie. I mean,
all
it's just
right, okay,
it's old,
yeah, it was a
whatever.
movie. We can at least agree that it was a movie.
It sure was.
All right, so Peaky Blinders. There's a recommendation. Now, listen. You'd mentioned it off air. It is. This is a guilty pleasure, but to me, it shouldn't be. You're a big fan of Power.
Yeah, I I like it. It's not good, but I like it. I don't know if I like it because it's like urban and hip, or but it's just like it's one of those shows where like everything, like these, they get into these like high tech, high intense situations, but everything gets resolved like really quick.
Which is great. Which is
Like
great if you
in one
like that.
show
If you
though,
want things resolved
yeah,
nice and tidy, you know. I
yeah,
mean,
and it's like though,
see, I don't understand how this is like a guilty pleasure though, because it's like cinematically, it's shot so awesome, and
yeah,
like to me, when I think of a true, uh, if we have to call it urban, when I think of an urban guilty pleasure, I think of like the haves and have nots
um,
on Own, or
um,
or that sort of like way over the top
mhm.
drama, which by the way, another one, if you haven't seen it, have you seen it at all? No.
No.
Oh, dude, the haves and have nots. It's it is guilty. I am guilty as charged. All right, so back to Power.
So yeah, the acting, there's like the only good actress is the wife Tasha. Other than that, everybody else is pretty terrible. Even the main character, um, the main character, Omari Hardwick is he's Ghost. He's he's the main character. Even him, like his stuff is just not great. But she's a good actress. But
I mean, I gotta tell you,
yeah,
you're
but
not
it does put
selling it
you
so
because the
far.
huh?
You're not selling it. I
I know,
mean,
but I'm saying that like a soap opera, but like on cable,
okay.
where like yeah, it's
And
like a
not
soap
just
opera. It's
like
like
it's
soap
not just
opera.
on cable. Maybe this should be their slogan, but not just
So
cable. It's stars.
yeah, I'll give you an example. Like so, Ghost and his friend Tommy are they used to be partners, and but now they're like battling, and it's been going on for a while. And like every time they see each other, it's like the hard stare down. Don't talk to me. I'm gonna kill you if I see you again. They've seen each other like 25 times and they say the same thing every time. Like if I run into you, you're dead. You're nothing to me. And then they end up working together. And then like they get it. And then if I see you, you know
And
how
do
it's
they
gonna
end
go
up
down.
using the enemy of my enemy is my friend line?
And then, like, yeah, if something else happens, stay away
This
from
is the
Tom.
final straw.
Yeah, stay away from Lakeisha, stay away from my son, and then they go right like the next scene they're like hanging out with the son. So, but it is, I mean, like I said, everything gets resolved and the action's pretty good, and everybody on the show is super good looking. So it's like a soap opera,
Get
it's
yourself a little bit more in frame here. You're a little low. I'm seeing a lot of ceiling at the moment.
how's that?
Uh, better. There you go. There you go. Better. Yeah. There it is. All right. So, and Power's wrapping up, right? Power is
I
like,
think that it only has a few episodes
yeah.
left.
So,
So eventually they are gonna have to, somebody's gonna have to get shot in the face.
but I mean, it's like for you and the way you describe it, it's like a legit binge. Like
Yeah,
if
it's
ever
not a
there's a
show you
definition
watch.
of a binge show, it seems like Power would be it.
Yeah, nothing that happened like a season before, because it's just moving really fast. Like I said, they go from like one situation to the other. Like, yeah, like they took on a Mexican drug cartel and like got rid of them in like 5 episodes. I was like, oh, okay.
Because of course that's how it happens.
Because those Mexican cartels, they forget everything. They don't care. They're not worried about it. But yeah, so
All right,
yeah,
all
that
right.
kind of stuff.
So I've got to say, overall, you sold me on Peaky Blinders, where it was a show that before I was kind of avoiding. Power, uh, Power has been one of those shows that has just kind of been sitting in the background for me. I keep hearing about it. I keep reading about it because I read everything about TV. Again, I've mentioned this before. If you don't read, if you're a TV fan and you don't look at tvtattle.com, like it's just the perfect digest of everything going on in TV and the industry
What
and
is it? TVtitle.com?
TV Tattle, TV Tattle. Um,
All right.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. And I always see stuff about Power, and it. And when new seasons of shows come out, they kind of put all of the reviews in one place of it, and um, but I am still on the fence on Power. Maybe I'll I mean, just from the binge worthiness of it, it sounds good, but
I mean, you could watch.
is it worth ponying up for stars for? That's the question, you know?
Nah, man. Just when it comes, they'll have them like at Bull Moose for like,
The
$8 for
DVDs, yeah, in
season
the
one.
clearance
Yeah,
rack for
yeah. They'll have season one. You could probably get the whole thing for like twenty
is
bucks.
DVD even a thing anymore? It's
DVDs?
yeah, they're still around, right?
I collect them,
Okay.
so I like if it's a really good movie, like I'll collect it just to have it.
All right,
Um,
Val. Anything else on your mind before we let you go?
nah, not right now, but
You've gotten lower and lower in the frame as this interview has
sorry,
gone on. You'll see
It's
this
hard.
and you'll know what I'm
I've
talking
been
about.
leaning in, so I'm probably gonna need a back brace after I'm done with this. I've been like
You're
leaning in
leaning
the whole.
in. Oh, all right.
It's
Well,
all right.
yeah.
I'll figure it out for next
Maybe
time.
we get a chiropractor to sponsor your segments moving forward.
I don't have anything else, but I'll text you when I find something good.
Hey, listen, your texts and your thoughts on pop culture are always welcome. Valdivia,
Okay.
last name? How I keep butchering it. I butcher every name, but I
I
don't want to
know.
be butchering yours.
So easy. So easy.
Yeah,
It's Davila. I'm gonna send
Davila. Okay,
just
because
like
that's how I usually say it, and then I just in my head I just like was like maybe it's got to be Davia. So yeah, I'm sorry.
don't
Val,
worry about
forgive
it.
me,
It's all
please.
right.
You forgive
Don't
me?
worry about it. Huh?
You forgive me?
Yeah, I'm
All right,
fine.
I didn't want to end this interview with us mad at each other.
All right.
All right, man. Good
All right,
stuff.
man. Later.
So that's Val Avila. Much thanks to him for coming on the show. A weird mix of topics here while we were in that interview. The Boston Globe has posted their article on the Perry's admission during the debate and now the Canan's campaigns. Um, uh, Canan's campaigns further delving into the the situation. So I will. I've got the article up here. Um, and let's see. In the article, it says the probate and family court. In this article in the Globe by Michael Levinson, released about 45 minutes ago on BostonGlobe.com. The admission. Let's see here. Let me see. Probate and family court documents show that during the divorce, Perry's wife at the time alleged in a sworn statement that he, quote, physically and sexually abused me for years on a regular basis, end quote. Perry denied the allegations in his own sworn statement at the time and continued to deny them in an interview this week with the Globe. Quote, I've done nothing wrong, quote unquote, he said in a phone interview. Quote, I've never raised my hand to any man, woman, or child, ever, physically or sexually, and I stand by that, and the results of the divorce justify that in my mind, end quote. The Globe's attempts to reach Perry's second wife were not successful. A lot of this is what Canan I've already read in terms of Canan saying in her own statement. Perry told the Globe that he thought that he brought it up in the debate because he thought that the Canan campaign was spreading rumors about it. Which, quite honestly, I did not hear any of ahead of this. I had heard before he even ran that this was an issue, but I had not heard from anyone else, and I had not said anything about it to anyone. So, documents show that Perry's wife at the time, this is from the Globe article, documents show that Perry's wife at the time, who he had married 13 years earlier, sought a divorce in 2001, quote, on the grounds of cruel and abusive treatment, quote, unquote, by Perry. Quote, again, quoting from the document, primarily through forced sexual contact, end quote. As we said in the Canan statement, she sought and was granted a restraining order in Lawrence District Court from November 16th, 2001 until December 12th, 2001, at which point she asserted that she allowed the order to elapse because the two had visitation issues to deal with, end quote, quote, and I would have my request for a restraining order addressed in probate and family court. She sought that in probate court, sought a domestic relations protective order in which she alleged Perry, quote, continued to verbally and emotionally abuse, end quote, her through phone calls, lengthy letters, and confrontations in front of their children. Perry submitted a sworn statement in May 2002 calling his wife's statements false. Quote, I never physically abused my wife during the course of our entire marriage, nor have I ever raised a hand to my wife or my children in anger, Perry wrote in the affidavit. So that's the bulk of what was said. Perry's wife, in talking to the Globe, Perry said that his first wife had testified in court that he was not a violent person. So obviously this story is unfolding. interesting that the Globe is covering this. I think it's one thing to put out a statement on the candidate's website. It's another thing for the Globe to pick up on it. I'm glad that he at least spoke to the Globe. So this is clearly going to be an issue, and not just because of Kanan's statement now. I mean, Perry made this an issue by bringing it up in the MCTV debate. So this will certainly be discussed. Divorce proceedings can get ugly. And Perry has made his statements in relation to what happened there. There was a restraining order in place, which, they don't just hand out restraining orders like Halloween candy, I guess, without trying to sound too cavalier about it. But I mean, I can't really make any judgments on the validity of any of it here, other than the fact that this was an issue. Perry brought it up in the debate. Kanan's campaign has responded to it, and now we have this Boston Globe article, which I've linked to in the comments. So, a very interesting development here. It hasn't been a great campaign season, folks. I only came back publicly into this for the last month, and I've been disappointed by what I've seen. I have, but I mean, we do need to make some decisions as voters, and I will do my best to help inform you by giving you additional access to candidates. I will put up on Methuen today on the Facebook page when we're interviewing candidates and ask you if you have any specific questions you want answered by the candidates. And we'll go from there. All right, one thing I wanted to point out, again, not a phenomenally smooth transition, but just wrapping up the show for this week. The Fall Festival. Let's see if I can pull this up. Just want to bring your attention to that. That's tomorrow. 12 noon at Gray Court Park. Food and fun for free. There'll be an annual Halloween costume contest at registration starts at 12. Spooky story time at 12:30. The costume contest begins at 1 p.m. The announcement of winners will happen at 1:30 p.m. So that should be a fun time. There'll be pony rides there as well. There'll be food and drink by the Methuen Exchange Club will be providing hot dogs. The Methuen-Salem Rotary will be providing popcorn. Harrow's Chicken Pies will be on hand. Delish. And then Ron and Diane Marsan will be providing, as they always do at this event, they will be providing apple crisp and apple cider. And a bus will be provided to bring participants to the top of the hill. Handicap parking will be available at Great Court as well. So, all residents invited tomorrow, Saturday, October 12th, 12 noon, a free event brought to you from the city, from the Recreation Department and the Methuen Youth Commission. So that should be fun. So please check that out. Just some other things to put on your radar. Again, this is from MethuenEvents.com. Tonight, JB is at Muddy Waters. Who is JB? Classic rock, pop, and contemporary country hits. 7:30 to 11:30 at Muddy Waters. Rock Soup is at Ray Rocks. starting at 9 at Ray Rocks on Pelham Street. What else we got? The Slackers are at Ray Rocks on Saturday. Another Shot, if you're a fan, is at Muddy Waters on October 20th. You've got a city council meeting coming up on Monday, the 21st. And you can see, I will post the agenda online ahead of the meeting. Now, one thing I did want to point out, we are efforting furiously to have MethuenToday.com up and running by Monday. That is the goal. There is, you can see a preview of the site just through Mr. Valdavila's article that he has linked, and we will link to in the comments here, since he's already put it out. And you can kind of click around, a soft opening, we'll call it, of the site. More things to be done with the site, of course, but we'll call it a soft opening. Just check that out. I just posted that in the comments. What else? Any other events worthy of mention? Let me take a look here. A little farther down the line, Halloween celebration at the Loop Methuen on Sunday, October 27th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. I believe you'll get food, trick-or-treating, costume contest, live DJ, and more at the Loop, 1 to 4 on Sunday, October 27th. So that's that. We've gone on way longer than I expected. I get some breaking news here that we delved into. Yeah, that's it for now. We will talk to you down the road. We posted here on Friday due to some power issues. I hope those affected have got their power back by now. There was some discussion that there's an ongoing issue. So hope anyone that was affected by that has their power back. So yeah, that's it for now. I wish you a happy end of your Friday, and hope you have a great weekend. Tim Wood signing off for now. Appreciate those who watch it on demand throughout the week, and we will be back at you next week. At the latest next week. We may be on before, but definitely at least next Thursday we will be back with you on Looped In Live. Have a great weekend, everybody.